Okay, so I'm just going to start to make the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Martin Shira. My company is Express Capital Financing. We are real estate lenders that work with investors, landlords, developers, whether you got a fix and a flip, ground up construction, 30-year perm, whether it's a 1 to 4 units or a commercial property. We're not brokers, we're the actual lenders, so we can provide you terms, term sheets, economics, showing you the return on the investments and the profits you're going to be making. And this webinar, we have with us Keith Tremmel, who is a major wholesaler here to provide his insight, best practices, and experience on how to wholesale successfully in today's environment. As always, please speak to your accountant, tax advisor for financial information. We're not here to provide that information for you. We're just lenders and wholesalers and investors here just to, like I said, share that insight, best practices, and experience. And if you could hold the questions till after, Keith and I speak, you could put it in the Q&A, or you could raise your hand and we'll do it after, the webinar. So Keith, if you want to introduce yourself, who you are, what you are, and then we'll go into my questions for you.
What's up, guys? My name is Keith Tremmel. Thank you, Marty, for having me. I'm really happy and excited to be here. I was here last month and we had a lot of fun. I think we had a great discussion. There was a ton of people, and I think from what I heard, everybody got some value from it. So I'm 28 years old. I'm a wholesaler here in New Jersey. I've been doing this since I was 22, and I'm one of the owners at District Home Buyers. 99% of what we do is wholesaling properties here in Central and now South Jersey. That's one of the things we were talking about, is expanding our markets and making pivots depending what the market is doing. But I look at myself as a specialist in direct to seller acquisitions and actually going directly to these sellers, not talking to real estate agents or anything like that, going right to the seller and making contact and trying to get the deal under contract directly. So I look at myself as a specialist in that area, like that business to consumer, B2C type of marketing. And that's what I'm really good at, is building relationships with people. And here we are. I mean, it's been a crazy road, but I'm definitely happy to be here. And like Marty said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'd be more than happy to answer them.
Right. And just for the folks who are not really sure what a wholesaler is, they're wholesaling the contract. A realtor has to be licensed and is governed by the government rules in the state and municipality as a realtor. But wholesalers are just assigning the contract. They're not selling the property. They're assigning over the contract. So Keith will go into contract with a seller. Let's assume it's $100,000, and he wants to sell it to Marty for $120,000. He's making a $20,000 vig, but he's not really selling the property. He's selling the contract. So that's what a wholesaler is. It's easy, but it's complicated. You don't need a lot of money, and I guess Keith will go into that a little bit, but it's for the people that want to get started in the real estate industry who don't have the capital to do a fix and a flip or buy and a hold. It's a great way to get started in this industry, and then you graduate from that, going into a fix and a flipper, and then eventually you graduate to being a landlord on some rental properties, and hopefully in a few years after that, you'll graduate to having multiple properties in your real estate portfolio. It's work. I mean, I could say as a lender, I used to go to the courthouses 10, 15 years ago, and I met a lot of you guys out there who just wholesaling because you're looking for people who are in contract but don't want to even fix up the property or close on the property. So maybe go into that a little bit so people can understand more about the process.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, wholesaling is, I think, the best way to get your foot in the door if you want to get into real estate, but it just seems so far out of your reach. A lot of people have this idea that you need a lot of money to buy properties to get into real estate, which is true, but to a certain extent. And I'm living proof of that. I started when I was 22 years old. I didn't come from a rich family or anything. I didn't have a lot of money. As you can see, I look pretty young. So imagine me walking into your house at 22 years old, telling you I'm going to buy your property. So I had my own fair share of things that I had to overcome. And I did that. And now after so many years of wholesaling properties and doing these transactions and having a good understanding for what a good deal is. I think that's one of the most important skills that you're going to learn in wholesaling is like, what is a good deal? How do you run your numbers? How do you walk through a property and assess repairs and what needs to be done and what to look out for? So I've already done, over 60, 65 deals at this point without me actually being the person closing on it. But that's so much invaluable experience that I now have from being a part of so many transactions. So I'm super comfortable to now at this point buy my own deals. We're very comfortable and confident in our own abilities to close and to be able to make money. Also flipping deals, but anybody can really wholesale. You don't need a license. You don't need to have good credit. You don't need to have a lot of money. But what you do need to have is grind. You need to hustle. You need to work. It's not going to be, you pick up the phone and you make 10, 15 phone calls and you talk to a couple people and then you find someone that wants to sell their house. You're going to talk to hundreds of people that are going to yell at you, curse at you, hang up on you, and tell you no, all those things before you find somebody that actually says, yes, I want to sell my property to you for a discounted price. So a lot of people want to wholesale properties. They want to make $10,000 selling a contract for a property that they want to wholesale, but they're not willing to speak to hundreds of people and get hung up on and get cursed off. So that's the difference of like, hey, do you have thick skin where you can get through all the trials and tribulations that it takes to get your first deal? I mean, I had to go through hell. It took me almost a full year before I got my first deal. So it takes a lot. But if that's the type of person that you are, where you work and you it's necessary to get things done, this is going to be a great business for you because, like I said, you don't have to have a lot of money. Like you don't even have to be that smart. The more I like meet a lot of these wholesalers and other just people in general in real estate, like you think like, oh, these guys are like so big and great and smart. A lot of them really aren't. They just had the gall to go out there and make moves and put their money where their mouth is. And that's all this is, guys. It's being aggressive. It's not letting the fear take over, not letting your anxiety get the best of you. This is what you have to do to be successful. Real estate, it's a grind. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So if you guys like cross country, maybe this is for you.
Yeah, and I'll just add to it also. I've been a successful retailer for many years and I've been a lender for about 10, 11 years. And I started out also, I had to go to the courthouses. I had to go to every event. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what LTV was and ARV. I was just starting out and learning. So it is a grit. Nothing comes easy, but with experience is going to give you the confidence to feel comfortable in doing what you're doing. Making mistakes is okay. You're one step closer to success. So don't think, oh, I'm making mistakes and I lost $5,000. It's okay. It's a mistake. It's a learning curve, and it's going to help you on your third deal, fourth deal, or whatever it may be. Would you like to add to anything there, Keith?
I'd like to actually correct you. I would say it's not that you lost $5,000. It's that you actually invested that $5,000 to find out what works and what doesn't. It's never a loss. It's never a failure. It's always a learning experience, right? You can never look at it as a waste of time or a waste of money. It's just the reality. This is how it is. You have to take risks. Anything that's worth doing in life is not going to be easy, and there's going to be struggles that come along with it. So I think stocks are great, crypto is great, real estate is even better, but the best investment you can make is in yourself and even into your own business. So if you have $5,000 and you're thinking like, I want to start a wholesaling company and to start my own business, invest in yourself. That's the best investment you're ever going to make.
And I just want to also add to that. Investing in yourself is, besides learning, going out there, talking to other wholesalers, and even, by the way, let's say you're talking to another wholesaler, and you stand to make 20 grand, maybe, give them give them a piece of it. Incentivize the people that you're talking to, landlords, developers, and wholesalers, because whatever experience they're going to bring to your business is only going to help you in the long run. But investing yourself also is learning from books, learning from YouTube, how to sell, how to close, whether it's wholesaling, how to wholesale deals. So learning from webinars is a great start, but investing yourself into books, podcasts, YouTube, and all that, because real estate is a great business. And even me as a lender, I talk to like 100 people a day. If I'm lucky, one deal would be successful to even fund. And even if I give the guy terms, is he not always going to go with it? But it's my job as a lender to find out what's underneath the iceberg. Why doesn't he want to move forward? Did he get better terms with another lender? Is he not ready to move forward because he's not in contract? Does he not have the money? So why am I saying this? Even as a wholesaler, find out from your seller, find out from your buyer what's underneath the iceberg to, underneath the table, to find out what is the objection? Why do they don't want to sell? Because if you can get to your sellers' real objections, maybe they want to move quicker, slower. They want you to throw out all the garbage and all the debris. Maybe they want you to find them another home to rent or buy in a different state or city. When you get to that real objection, you can make a deal. And deals are created, they're not found. There is no deals that you find. It's you creating them that makes it successful. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think like in order to really get the most out of the things you're talking about, to create those deals, to uncover the things that people don't want to tell you, like people understand, like they're not just going to come out and show you their cards. Like if they know that they're going to get foreclosed on in 2-3 weeks, well, they're going to try not to tell you that, because then they know, what are you going to do? You're going to try to lowball them. So your job, like the better you get at building your sales skills and your people skills and building relationships, being able to just talk to people on a human level and be empathetic for them and their situation, no matter what's happening. Those are the skills that you're going to need. And those are going to transcend even past real estate into your own relationships and friendships and your relationships with your family. This stuff is very important to really get down to the bottom of what's actually happening. So it transcends more than real estate, but I would say these are also just invaluable skills like sales, relationships, all these types of things that you're going to need on your journey of actually helping people, right? Like at the end of the day, when we wholesale a property, we are helping someone get out of a bad situation, right? Anybody who's going to sell their property at a discounted price to a guy like me who's not licensed, they trade price for 9% of people sell their property are going to list it on the open market with a real estate agent. Simple as that. They're going to say, hey, I want top dollar price. I don't care how long it takes. If the buyer, a conventional loan, whatever, I don't care. It's fine. For somebody to say, I want a cash deal, I want this to be over within 2-3 weeks, I don't ever want to think about this house again, they're going through something. So it's your job to be empathetic of what they're going through, try to understand the entire situation, and help serve them as best you can, right? This is a people business, and you're always going to be solving problems, and you're always going to be problem solving, and there's never ending issues. And I hate to say it, but the type of people that you're going to deal with in this type of business are not your average Joes. These are people that are going through things. They might not be the happiest. They might not be in the best place and best situation in their life. So you have to understand that. It might be stressful, but again, like we said, anything that's worth having is not going to be easy.
And I noticed something that you said, that you pivoted your business, I guess, from a different city and state to a different one now, because you're finding other areas that are cheaper from what your normal areas are. And I want to concentrate on that word pivot. It's, whether you're starting out or you're already successful, real estate professional, pivoting is very important. You have to go with the times, whether it's the rates, whether it's the environment, whether it's the property type, the sector. Pivoting your business is essential. You can't just stay status quo. And I'm a wholesaler and this is my county and this is my thing. It's very important to pivot eventually and go with the flow of the new environment of whatever that environment is, whether it's a rate environment, a forced appreciation, forced depreciation, whatever it may be. So that's something that I picked up on. And I heard you say that you were a specialist. Define what you mean by specialist in wholesaling so people could learn from that.
So when I say I'm a specialist in acquisitions and direct to seller acquisitions, what I do is I'm very good at talking to sellers. I'm very good at understanding them, their situation, their motivation to sell the property, and what they want to get out of this deal. So I have a very good track record of being able to connect with people who are in bad situations and get them across to the other side, and basically kind of like superhero stuff, like things that I look back on that I've done. Like we've closed deals from a hospital. We've done all sorts of crazy deals that we never thought we'd even be able to close. But I'm the acquisitions guy. My partner, Mark, he's the dispositions guy. So my main focus for our business is just getting properties under contract. Once the properties are under contract, Mark takes over the dispositions process of actually selling that contract to now a cash buyer. So all I do all day is I focus on just finding more deals, getting more contracts signed, making more offers. That's all I do. So I stay hyper focused on this side of the business because that's what I'm good at. And Mark stays hyper focused on the other side of the business because that's what he's good at. And going back to what I said before, like business to consumer is a lot different than business to business. So business to consumer sales of me just talking to your average Joe is a lot different than me talking to a guy like you who's been in business for however many years and has done however many deals, right? It's a whole different conversation. It's a whole different way about that you have to go about things. So it's almost like, what are you good at? And what do you specialize in? Do you relate more to the average Joe's, Sally who's going through foreclosure and going to lose her house? Or do you relate to the entrepreneur, to the business owner, to the guy that's had his own business for 20, 30 years? Which one do you relate more to? Some people are great at talking to real estate agents. I'm not as great. I'm better at talking to sellers, right? Some people are great at talking to sellers. Some are great at talking to buyers. So find out what you're good at. That's what I did. And if you can delegate or find a partner to do the things that you're not good at, that's where you can really cover a lot of ground.
Right. So why would a seller go to a wholesaler versus putting it on the MLS, pocket listing, and all the type of things? Like, what's the advantages of a seller doing that, working with a wholesaler?
So with us, we can close the deal quickly. We don't need any type of financing as far as like conventional loans, right? Where you're going to need appraisals and home inspections, all these sorts of things. So we bypass all of that, right? We try to make it a stress-free, convenient transaction for the seller where they don't have to worry about anything. That's basically the whole idea. Is you're not going to pay any agent commissions, right? You're getting locked into a price. This is the price that you're getting. Okay? A lot of the seller. So it's like, hey, Mr. Seller, what we agree upon is actually going to be net what you walk away with. If they have a mortgage, they're going to have to pay that off, which, they understand. But not having to pay any commissions, not having to deal with a long drawn out process of never ending doing showings to a bunch of buyers, open houses, appraisals, home inspections, dealing with banks that want you to maybe fix things and make repairs. So when we buy the property, it's completely as is. It's a cash deal. We don't need any type of financing.
But
and like I said, we actually empathize.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
So we actually empathize with the sellers and we understand their situation, and we'll actually help them in other ways that an agent would never do. let's say somebody's breaking into the property, we'll go in and we'll try to talk to the person that broke into the property. Maybe it's somebody trying to squat, and we'll try to work something out with them to get them to leave. Maybe a cash for keys situation. Maybe in that situation, somebody broke in, we'll go and fix the door. Maybe there's a situation where they owe judgments or IRS liens. We're going to contact that lien holder and try to negotiate those liens for them. These are all things a real estate agent is never going to do. So we go above and beyond to basically create a concierge service for the seller, where it's like, hey, you want to sell your property fast, easy, stress-free? Come to us. Are you going to get the highest price? Probably not. But we tell them that, and they understand that, right? They understand that, hey, I don't want to go through all the trouble of doing all these open houses, dealing with all these different buyers, having to pay commissions, having to pay closing costs, maybe getting stuck fixing things and making repairs. Forget all that. I'll sell my property to a wholesaler and be done with this in 30 days.
Right, and also sellers' concessions. Sometimes these sellers have to give a concession that could eat into their profits as well, too.
A lot of times, things like we deal with a lot of buying their property on the open market, and for whatever reason, it didn't sell. For maybe they had a buyer that backed out or couldn't get approved for the financing and wasted all their time, right? So a lot of times with those expired listings, the seller already had a bad experience with a real estate agent. Maybe the real estate agent just didn't do a good job. There's so many different things. Maybe they had a bad experience. Now they want to work with a guy like us. So believe it or not, there's actually more people than you think that would want to work with a wholesaler compared to a real estate agent.
But so Mark is your disposition guy who's finding the buyers to buy the property, correct?
Yes.
And he already has a list of people, or is he just like randomly? I'm sure by now you have a list of people. Yeah, just have
Yeah. We have a list of people, and then we have a VIP buyers list. So we could talk about that too. But yeah, we have buyers that we've already been working with for years, that we have relationships with. That's usually what happens, right? Like if you're in any market for long enough, everybody's going to know you. You're going to know who the real players are, and it's not very hard to figure out who the real big dogs are. So we have email lists of cash buyers, obviously in our phone and our contact list. We could just make a simple phone call, send a text. That's usually how we sell a lot of our deals, is just off of phone calls. That's the ideal way, because just to add on to that, like once you go into the public marketing realm of like maybe posting a deal on Facebook, trying to find cash buyers, that's when you run into a lot of the cash buyers, the wholesalers posing as cash buyers, but they're not really buyers. People that want to try to steal your deals. So that's why I talk about the importance of actually finding good cash buyers that you can trust and that you can build relationships with, and not have to worry about them trying to go around your back and steal your deals. Not having to worry about, do they actually have the cash? Do they actually know what they're doing? Because we've had some bad experiences with people selling themselves as cash buyers when they're actually a wholesaler and they're trying to wholesale our deal.
Yep. But tell me, your end buyer, you said no appraisal and no home inspection. Are they flippers? Are they keeping it for the cash flow? Even though it's not the most important aspect of you selling it, but don't they need an appraisal and a home inspection if they're buying it?
So they do both. Some people will flip, some people will hold. It really depends on the market. Like we do a lot of deals in a 55 and up community where it's all fix and flips. It's just, that's how the market is. And then there's other markets like Trenton where everybody just wants rentals. So
your doesn't he need he still needs an appraisal and a possible home inspection, no?
No, not if he's buying the deal liquid cash. Some hard money lenders are going to require an appraisal, which is okay. We can work that out. But from my perspective, ideally, We want to bypass all of that. We want to basically your walkthrough as a buyer, that's your inspection. Like we don't give inspection periods for the buyer or anything like that. Like once you go under contract and put down your earnest money, your earnest money goes hard right away. I mean, the only way that it would be refundable is if there was like a title issue or something like that. So just from our perspective, it's better for us because we can't be setting expectations with the seller on one end where we're going to close in 30 days. And then a buyer comes in and they need to do home inspections and X, Y, and Z, and they need things to be fixed. And then that 30-day timeline is never going to happen. So that's kind of one of the trade-offs, right? Like, hey, you want to buy deals at 60, 70% of market value? Well, hey, you got to be aggressive. You got to be confident in your abilities and your understanding of the market to where you got to pull the trigger and buy the deal. If you need a home inspection, if you don't know what you're looking at, maybe you bring a contractor with you. We'll just sell the deal to someone else. A lot of the guys we deal with are experienced and confident enough where them just walking the property is enough, and they understand if it's a good deal or not.
And just folks, the understanding, since he's been in it for about 6 years, he already has, the sellers are not easy. We'll go through that in a minute, but he's got a book of people that already want to buy. They trust him, they like him, they probably tell Keith what they want, and if he finds it, he'll call them up, or he already knows his buyer base on what they want, so he's pivoting to that market, whether it's the type of unit or city or county or things like that. So how do you, like with your cold calling, just give us an idea, like what's your day on cold calling? Is it 100 calls, 200 calls? Go a little bit into that if you don't mind.
Yeah, we use a multi-line dialer, which allows us to call several, actually 3 to 4 people at once without even typing in the numbers manually or listening to the phone ring or anything like that. So that's really an amazing hack to be able to make hundreds of calls a day. So I don't make the calls anymore. I have a virtual assistant now in the Philippines. We pay him $6 an hour to just do cold calling all day. And he makes between 700 to 800 phone calls a day. And out of those calls, he'll probably connect with 30 to 40 sellers. And like I told you, 95% of them are going to say no. They're going to hang up. They're going to say, I'm not interested. They might even be a lot meaner than that. But out of those 40 people we talk to, we're going to get 1 or 2 every day that say, yes, I'd be interested in a cash offer. And from there, we just build up our pipeline. We continue to follow up with them. It's not an overnight type of thing at all. We do get those really good deals once in a while where it's like, hey, this person's ready to sign like right now. Like this is, a fire deal. But most of the time, we're going to have to put them through a follow-up campaign. And usually takes us about, on average, like 2 months from the time we first make contact to us actually getting the deal under contract. Because you also got to understand, Marty, somebody calls you out of the blue, like literally cold calling you to buy your property. That's like a ballsy thing. It's like, who the hell is this guy? He's cold calling me to buy my house. That's a little odd, but I like his style. He sounds like a young guy. Like he reminds me of me when I was younger. Let me see what he has to say. And usually it takes a few touches of having a conversation with them, gaining their trust, them understanding your process and what it's like working with you, maybe them even having similar conversations with other guys. And you just have to be better than the rest. You have to set yourself apart from everyone else. It's like, I get like 10 of these phone calls a day, but there's something different about this guy, Keith. Like he actually speaks proper English. It doesn't sound like the world. Like he sounds confident in what he's saying. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Like all these things add up. And over the course of like a month or 2 of us hitting them and warming them up and nurturing that lead, eventually they open up and they just make the decision that they want to work with us.
And I'll just say from my aspect, being a lender sometimes, and I'm talking to people that came in a year ago, I'll ask them, when would it make sense for me to give you a call back to see if you're interested in funding or real estate or whatever? Being in touch with them, you never know, because maybe today, Keith, they're not saying I'm not ready to sell yet, but in 6 months, a year from now, they may be ready to sell. Would you agree with that?
Exactly, 100%, because people's situations change every day. I'm not saying that I hope for things to happen, but bad stuff happens, right? People are going to lose their jobs, people are going to get divorced, people are going to pass away. It's just the reality. That's just the reality of the world and how it works. So if you talk to somebody today and they're on their high horse and they have an attitude, they have no interest in selling, 3 months from now, things could be completely different. I know in my own personal life, over a course of like 3 months, my whole life was flipped upside down. So many things can change in even 30 days. So in this business, specifically wholesaling, I mean, even relatively like any type of business like this, your follow-up game has to be really strong. You want to continue to build that trust and relationships with people. Remind them like, hey, I'm here, just whenever you're ready, just want to check in with you, see how things are doing. Even on a day like yesterday, Memorial Day, we follow up with people because it gives us an excuse like, hey, just want to give you a call, how was your weekend, just wanted to wish you a happy Memorial Day, how's everything going. We won't even bring anything up about the property, just, hey, how are you, man, how's your kids. Looking back at the notes here, I see, maybe they said they're taking their son to a baseball game. How does this game? Did he win? And then you're having this, couple minute conversation, and they're like, hey, weren't you calling me about my property or something? It's like, oh yeah, were you still interested in selling it? And it's like, now you're really building this common ground and relationship with people where it pulls down that barrier of like, this person just cold called me out of the blue, right? So you have to really build rapport and show them who you are, like show them that you're a human being, and gain their trust. Like it's very important, right? Because now we're in a virtual world. They can't see you, they can't see your body language, they can't see what you look like. All they can do is hear your voice over the phone. So you want to sound confident. You want to have the right tonality when you're speaking to them. All these little things matter.
Right. And what would you say is like your main objection that you get every day? I don't want to sell. They hang up on you. I mean, I'm just talking like, what is your main objection, and how do you disrupt it to open up the conversation? Whether
Oh,
it's, I don't want to sell, I'm not getting divorced, I'm not desperate. And I get those phone calls too at all my properties, but I just hang up on them. So I don't know
yeah.
how do you disrupt it? Because something I've learned, you need to disrupt and then ledge their comments to get them to open up.
Yeah. I want to call you now just to see if I can get through without you hanging up on me.
Okay, do it right now, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah, no, I get so many objections. I think one of the biggest ones that we get, and a lot of other people that cold call get, is like, how'd you get my number? And a lot of people stumble on this because they don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to say, hey, I pulled a list of vacant property owners, or hey, I pulled a list of people that are in pre-foreclosure and are about to lose their house. People don't want to say that. They don't want to be honest. But what we do is we just say, hey, Mr. Seller, everything's public records nowadays. You know how it is. We just pull lists of property owners, and we make a lot of phone calls. So I understand, you got a random call out of the blue. But anyway, were you interested in selling your property at all? So you answer the main
Objection.
core objection of like, how'd you get my number? Like it's basically like, you're creepy. Like, where you know my name, you know my address, you have my phone number. Like, who are you? Where'd you come from? And you can kind of just disarm them by saying, well, everything's public records nowadays, Marty. We pull lists of property owners. We call hundreds of people a day, basically getting the point across like, hey, we're not targeting you. We're not sitting outside of your house in a car, like in stealth mode, trying to like creep on you or anything like that. And also letting you know, like, hey, you're really not that special. Like, we're calling hundreds of people a day. We're calling um, basically anybody who owns a property in this county. So I don't try to let them know like we're targeting you specifically, or we're going after people who are losing their house. That's going to obviously make us sound horrible. We basically let them know, hey, we have a whole blanket approach. We're calling hundreds of people a day. We pull lists of property owners. This is what we do to feed our family, right? So we disarm them. We acknowledge their objection of where they're coming from, letting them know, hey, I'm a human being. I'm not a creeper. This is what I do to feed my family, right? And then take back control of the conversation. Don't just answer their objection and then allow them to keep throwing objections at you and giving you issues. Redirect it. Yeah, so we pull lists of property owners. We make hundreds of phone calls every day. So yeah, anyway, were you interested in selling your property or no?
That's it. Get to the questions. And something they learn is accusation audit. Tell them, look, I'm not the bad guy. I'm here to help out the people that are in serious or in delinquents or situations for you to sell your property and you can go on with your life. You know, that's why I like something, you know, which is get to their pain points and I try to help them out. Anything else that you'd like to add, Keith, to this particular topic?
Yeah, I like it. I think just like I said, adding in the human effect of just letting them know, like, hey, I'm a person too. This is what I do. Like, I think the average seller has such a bad idea of what an investor is, and they have this image in their head of like some corporate CEO that's got millions of dollars and is like trying to like steal properties from people. And it's not like, let it just getting the point across, hey, I'm a regular guy. I'm a young guy. I'm 28 years old. Maybe you tell them a little bit about yourself. I have a wife. I have a kid. That, this is what we do. We're not a huge company by any means. And just, humanize with them and let them understand, like, hey, we buy properties. This is what we do. We're not hurting anybody. We don't try to steal anybody's property. This is what we do. We're looking to buy properties. So do you want to sell? It's really that simple.
Right, maybe even adding it to, do you have a situation that we could help you with? And this way you could be out of your, I don't want to say the word financial distress, but you gotta, like when people tell me, the rates are too high, I'm not buying now, the economy stinks, Biden stinks, whatever stinks. I tell them, don't you see with uncertainty is great opportunity? And there's definitely uncertainty in the world right now in the United States economy, and people are suffering. And unfortunately, people are always going to be suffering, like you said, whether it's a death, job, divorce, vacant listing or an out-of-state listing. People are in situations and they're always hurting. And if you have that mindset that you're helping them versus hurting them, and let's just, get to the core problems. Let's see how we can work together, maybe put in, maybe
Right.
questions like, if I could sell your property in the next 30 days for this particular price, would you be okay with it? Like, do you ever come with that type of a disruption or ledge?
Not that early in the conversation. We don't throw out numbers that early into the conversation. Like, we want to uncover more of what's happening first and make sure that they're a serious seller, that they actually want to sell their property. Because we get a lot of people that are like tire kickers and they're just like, make me an offer. Well, how much do you want? Just make me an offer. You called me, right? That type of thing. And it's like, oh, okay, so you're not really serious about selling your property, or you don't have a reason to sell. It's just that I called. So you want to see what we can offer, type of thing. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to just give you a free offer so you can go around and tell everybody, hey, well, I got offered this for my house, but I don't even really want to sell. So we try to weed out a lot of those people, and we try to actually have a conversation of talking about the condition of the property, the situation, why they actually want to sell, how long they've been thinking about selling, how much they want. Like, if they can't even tell you a price for it, how are they going to sell a property if they don't even know how much it's worth or how much they would even want? So there's all these red flags that you'll get in the beginning of the conversation where people will try to waste your time. People will try to just say, oh, well, make me an offer. And then you're going to do what? Spend a half hour pulling comps, spend an hour to drive down to the property and assess repairs, talk to your contractor, do all this. And they're laughing at you. They're like, I was never serious about selling. I just want to see.
Oops. I think he got cut off, folks, so just wait 1 minute more for him to come back. Sorry about that, folks, but let me get to a question. Siva's asking, he's breaking up and again. Well, can't help that. That's the internet. Does anybody have any questions at all about lending, wholesaling, real estate that I could answer in the meantime? Oh, here he comes. Keith, you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, now I do.
Yeah, my phone died. Sorry about that. Someone in the comments was saying my audio was breaking up.
It was a little bit, but nothing we could do about that. So where did we end off in again? Yeah, so you will and I just want to teach everybody here, it's finding out what's underneath the iceberg, their real concerns of why they possibly want to sell. As a lender, everybody asks me, what's my rate? What's my points? Also, like Keith is saying, I never answer. I want to get to understand the person first and then the deal. And then because if I just say the cheapest rate and he doesn't qualify, or the highest leverage he doesn't qualify, I'm not doing justice to him or to me. So it's important to find out who you're talking to, what are their concerns, their needs, their situation, and then you could hopefully help them, like Keith was saying, whether it's helping them with their liens, helping them move, helping them find another place, and things of that nature. I just want to say it's not an easy job, but at the same time, like we're all saying here, me and Keith, it's inexpensive and it's a learning curve, but with time, you will be successful. He's in it 6 years and God bless him, he's doing many, many deals already. I've been a lender for about almost 10 years already, but out of that first 3 out of 10, I was just a loan broker and it took me time to learn everything about the lending industry, and every day you're still learning. So every bad deal or negative deal is a learning curve. And with that said, don't be so greedy to take a deal that's gonna maybe make you 10,000 instead of 20,000. Everybody wants to make, 5 deals, 20 grand a piece, 100 grand. But if you're gonna make somewhat less, half less, it's okay in the beginning because you're learning and you're getting that experience. And with a small deal or a smaller profit is a good type of how do I say it, a good type of deal to be experiencing on. You don't want to experience on $100,000 profit your first deal. That's not smart. So I just want to, go in with some insight over there. Until Keith, you hear us?
Yep, I'm still here. I don't know what's going on with my my video on my computer
Okay.
here, but
So there's attendee Pauline that's asking, do we know any wholesalers in Illinois? Do you know anybody, Keith, in Illinois?
no, I think Illinois is actually one of those weird states where wholesaling is illegal. In
Got,
Chicago, at least.
got
I
it.
know they require you to get a license now to
Got it.
wholesale. So Illinois might not be the best state to wholesale in, from
Got it.
my
Okay.
experience.
And then somebody's asking, John, who is most successful in this business? Somebody that's hungry, committed, that wants to learn, open to making mistakes, and then seeing in the long term that you could become a wholesaler, a flipper, a landlord, and eventually a real estate portfolio. That would be my answer. But if anything you want to add to it, Keith?
Yeah, I kind of hit on it a little bit before. I think the people that are most successful are the people that are bold enough to go out there, take the risk, put in the work. They're not worried about things being perfect, and just having the gall to actually go out there and say, I don't care if I look like a little kid and I'm 21 years old. I don't care if I'm a single mom and my whole family is telling me I can't do it. It doesn't matter. Having the gall to go out there, put in the work, and be bold. So this business will reward the bold.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Anybody have any other questions before we end the night? Let me see. Let me see. Keith, what is your phone number and email?
So my email is Keith at reidistrict.com. That's the best way to reach me.
Okay.
But my Instagram is at Keith J Tremmel. If you want to DM me.
Everybody can see his last name spelled. It's Tremmel. If anybody needs any type of lending in ground up construction, fix and flips, 30-year perm, and again, we could do any type of property, not just the 1-to-4s. My company website is expresscapitalfinancing.com. I'll say it again, it's expresscapitalfinancing.com. My direct number is 201-603-2370. And our company phone number is 718-285-0806. So if anybody has any questions on lending, proof of funds, and we also can connect you with good wholesalers, realtors, and other investors as well. So Pauline is writing, I'm a serious investor. Feel free to call me after I'm not sure who's it directed to. Is it to me or is it to Keith? But Keith, do you see the questions, the Q&A?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I guess not sure who she's directing it to. Anybody have any other questions? We will try to do this once a month, where there's a lot of information that we're talking about from buying and selling and how to wholesale properly. And we even dissect the deal and what to look out for. So we're hopefully going to do one in July and maybe August. We're not too sure, but look out for them on our email blast. And I'll just check one more time if there's any more questions. Nope, there's no more questions. Okay, I want to thank everybody for attending. Again, my name is Marty from Express Capital. And Keith, I want to thank you so much for joining and sharing some great information and insight.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. This is just the beginning. So let's do this every month. Let's continue to build and grow, and maybe do some in-person stuff later this year. That would be cool.
Awesome. Yep, we're having some local events coming up, so we'll definitely invite you out there. And by the way, people, it's all about 3 words. Networking is the opportunity to grow. Networking is right now the opportunities to take the phone numbers down and the information, and that growth is tomorrow to start working and committing and growing the business. It's the growth is tomorrow, not next week, next year. If you don't take the initiative and you don't start it, it's never going to happen.
But also understanding Rome wasn't built in a day. So don't think you're going to build an entire successful business in a week or a day or even a month. Try to just get 1% better every day and at least accomplish one small thing every day if you can. You know, something is better than nothing.
Got it. Beautiful, beautiful. Great, great. Okay, thank you everyone again. Have a lovely evening and have a great night.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Marty.
Bye-bye.